happened is whatever we, as we all know, whatever we search on the internet, that gets picked up by Google or Amazon or Facebook or Netflix, and immediately we figure out that we get similar content available to us, right? So that's again a very known thing to all of us, right? But the same thing is also happening in case of generative AI, right? That is, if I keep on searching, or if I keep on using generative AI for a particular purpose, what happens is that the generative AI starts learning that, and it can actually tell from which part of the world the question was actually posed. So there was one conference which is for hackers. It's known as SANS conference. So in that conference, what was happening is that Google was talking about the fact that they knew from which part of the country most of the queries related to cyber attacks were coming onto their platform. Now that's a very serious issue, because if we get monitored based on whatever we are transacting on this generative AI, that can also become a serious issue, because then there is no privacy left, right? So all these things that we are doing with respect to generative AI in terms of facilitating or trying to create better business models also have this issue or problems of whatever generative AI deficiencies are there. That's number one. Privacy is a very serious issue which we need to take care of, because all our data is being picked up and being used by these algorithms, right? So that in that context, what is happening is that I think most of you are aware that a new rule by the name of DPDP is coming into action in India. So is digital privacy rules which Government of India has framed. So it says that if any organization wants to use any sort of data for their algorithms, they have to take a consent from us, right? So if I buy something on Amazon, obviously I have to share my address there, but after the transaction is over, whether this data can be used in their recommendation algorithm or not, that can only be done if I give the consent. If I don't give the consent, they should not be able to use it, right? So that's what this DPDP Act is talking about, and that would be a very good thing to see that how it actually rolls out, because all these algorithms that we are seeing is all being trained, all being fed with our data without our consent, and our data is being used or being monetized for that without our consent. So the entire money is being made by the tech companies without any sort of consent coming from us, right? So that is again one of the various serious challenges which have to be taken care of when we're talking about generative AI being used for improving business models, right? And with generative AI and agentic AI taking the next step ahead, what is now going to happen is that some of these tasks that are being done by human beings could get automated, and that would actually make it much faster. But there's a high chance that there should be a human in the loop who should actually figure out that the logic or the reasoning or the steps that the agent is following is correct, because it should not do something which could actually harm human beings, and that would be a very dangerous situation which we could end up with if these agents or these AI algorithms start harming us, right? Because it can improve business models as we figured out, but if it does not do it without taking into account the basics of basic rules of how a society is run, that could actually lead to a serious challenge. So that is also what we have to keep in mind. But as we can clearly see here, business models stand to get improved, and multiple companies, as we have seen here, have been doing it in a very effective way, and they have slowly moved away from the pipeline way of doing things to a platform mechanism. And just like Google, Amazon, Facebook, and others have been doing it, so that is where the future is, and that's how these AI algorithms are going to improve it. Right? So I think I'll stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask me, I can answer them. Any questions, comments, views? Any questions, comments, views? Yes.
So most of the examples that you have given
Yeah.
is not related to Indian context, like driverless, the use of AI before pre-surgery. So are they relevant? Are they really we are using it, or is just that we are heading towards AI, or we are actually using it in India?
Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, so that's a very interesting question that you have, right? So the driverless car that I talked about, yeah, the existing driverless car for commute purpose is not going to happen in India. The other one is already happening in Coal India and others, where they already have these driverless wagons with robotic arms placed there, which are going into poisonous mines for mining. So that's happening, but it's happening in the industrial context actually. So that's already happening. Okay, the other one that you talked about, surgery, yes. As of now, not really in terms of surgery as such, but for diagnosis purposes, some of these algorithms are being used because these algorithms have the capability to actually ease the work for the doctors, because in Indian context where the doctor to patient ratio is very high, right? Sorry, very low, because one doctor has to cater to a huge number of patients every day. And if you're talking about the public healthcare system, it is very strained, not the private, but the public healthcare system is very strained. Right? So in that context, so these algorithms are aiding the doctors to actually bring down the number of hours that they take for diagnosis, etc. That's how it's happening. But yes, as of now, barring some of these private hospitals, they have not been used for operations, etc. But what I was talking about is that pre-operation, if I want to actually do a learning process in terms of what is the set of actions or what are the steps that I need to follow, there it can be very handy, because there I don't, there I'm not involving the patient at all. Right? So what I'm doing is that there are 4 doctors there, and the 4 doctors could be located in 4 different parts of the country. Right? So now I have to operate out a patient who has a very critical condition. So as a doctor, if I go to the OT only, then I only interact with the patient. But here I have got a model which I can use, a simulated model on which I can dry run the process and how I'm going to do it. So tomorrow when I'm in the OT, it's going to be much easier to operate actually. So that is also being tried, because that does not require a human subject to be involved. But what you're doing is that you're doing it on a 3D platform, and that's what you're doing it. In Indian context, there are a couple of examples which are happening in a very big way. Say, for example, your drones, right? For your agriculture purpose, as Prime Minister Modi talks about that every field should have a drone, and from that drone, he's talking about finding out the exact soil pattern of that region, the amount of humidity that is there in that region, and based on that, what type of fertilizers should be used. So that is happening in a very big way, right? So the drones are another very interesting examples where your AI technology is being used. And then in Operation Sindoor also, you saw a huge amount of drones being used by both the sides, right? And we could actually shoot down most of their drones. So drones are one very used technology piece where the AI is being used, right? Then there are applications of AI which are happening. Say, for example, when you ride a train or a plane as well, right? So if you're talking about a train, now 2 trains come onto one track, they have created a tool which could actually brake the trains, and brake the trains, I mean that will stop the train, or the brakes will be applied and the train will stop. So that is also operational. So right, that's also based on sensors and data. Then you have this autopilot in a plane, right? So you see the pilot moving around and putting the plane in an autopilot mode, right? That's also an example of this in application, right? So there are many of this happening to an extent. Even in income tax also, they have been able to figure out that, for example, there's a family, and can you connect the family totally, so that you know the exact revenue that the family is earning and whether they're paying the right amount of tax or not. So some of these applications are going on. Agriculture in a very big way actually. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was truly an insightful session. And now I would like to invite Dr. Shalini ma'am to kindly present the certificate to sir as a token of our appreciation, respect and gratitude. May I now request Dr. Nidhi ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks to sir. Thank you.
Come on, my dear colleagues, you haven't done justice. Please show your appreciation for Professor Mukhopadhyay. A good teacher is one who makes you forget the watch, and we have already into our article discussion time. So thank you so much, sir, on behalf of National PG College, on behalf of the teams of the Advanced FGP, NPGC management, we would like to thank you, and on behalf of the participants, I'm sure they enjoyed your lecture. Every time I meet sir, and it is our privilege that sir is also a member of our institute's Innovation Council. I can't really decide whether to be impressed by the great human being that he is, or the great academician. So with these words, thank you once again, sir. It was indeed a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Please assemble for the group photo.